let's get this off of there. So, hello. It's been one heck of a week, I think, for all of us. You know, genetics can play havoc, and I felt like it was playing havoc in our class as well, with genetics playing havoc in the body and the whole lecture process. So, like I mentioned in some of my emails this week, really tried my patience, and I am certain that it tried all of your patience. We just are finding out new things all the time about Blackboard. There was another major glitch on Thursday that didn't involve you. Could have been, but it didn't. So it is just such a, I guess it's you never know what's going to happen kind of week for all of us. And I'm glad we all made it through it. I certain now that all of you should be able to have viewed the genetics lecture either by downloading it, and thank you, Erin, for sharing your solution to a really pressing problem, because when the course opens on Sunday, and I know and I understand you all have set times that you want to work on the class and you have time to do things, and when that can't happen, it is really frustrating. So we have that all up and running, and I am looking ahead now knowing that this is an issue, because GI is also a voice over PowerPoint, very well done, but I don't want this to be a problem for the next that lecture. So we are already working on that to try to resolve all the issues. So I really can't believe that we're moving up to week 7. It's just this semester is just flying by for me anyhow, and I don't know how it is for all of you, but it just seems to keep going and going, and it's getting darker outside at night, and we've been blessed with such beautiful weather. It's like all of a sudden I'm waiting for the snowflakes to fall and go from 70 down to 32 and have a blizzard or something. This is really my favorite time of the year. I just love fall. It just seems so crisp and so invigorating. And, I don't like winter. I don't like what happens after that. But, I guess we have to do that. We live in Wisconsin, so we get those 4 seasons. So I hope that the genetics lecture was helpful to you. I will let you know that on the exam there is not a lot of questions on genetics, just so you know. So that is one lecture that you can figure isn't going to have a lot of questions off of for our exam. I really feel that genetics is such a new area, a new field. Certainly there are genetic issues and problems that maybe some of you care for. Trisomy 21, you would see these patients in a primary care setting, but a lot of genetics that we're going to be involved with as practitioners don't necessarily mean the patients, but how to manage medications, and then also do we even do genetic testing on people? And I think that's always the controversy with you having a family history. My father had colon cancer that he died at a very early age from, and my mother's side of her family has a lot of breast cancer. So we know those are on the BRCA genes, and people say, don't you want to get tested? And I'm thinking, well, no, I may not have the BRCA gene, but if I do, then I need to modify my lifestyle. Colon cancer, I have to eat right and exercise, and breast cancer, don't smoke, eat healthy, do your breast exams. So it is a choice that I don't want to, as my colonoscopy is due this year. So oh, what fun, huh? So I think that we have to really look at that field of genetics and think, we have all this information and how best to use it, because there is so much ethical and issues that surround the whole field of genetics. So next week we move to chronic kidney disease, and I think you'll find this lecture that includes a lot of discussion and information that as a primary care provider you might not use, but it certainly is valuable information to have. You will manage patients who probably have, you know, first stage renal disease, getting to third and fourth. You're going to refer them. But I think with all the patients with diabetes and heart disease and metabolic syndrome and obesity that we have, they are so at risk for kidney disease, and you're going to need to manage that and be aware of it and learn how to adjust medications to preserve the kidney. So I think it's a good lecture for you. Teresa Becker did come in last semester and retape it, and so I hope you do enjoy it. And there are some videos too. She gets into dialysis, which, you know, you may care for patients that are on dialysis, but they come to you for a cold or cough. So it is really more information, more for you to, you know, have when you interact with your patients and know what to do and when to refer and how to manage them. So Journal Clubs 13 and 14, we're getting down to the first round, almost done. We'll start and post your lecture on Sunday. And then the last lecture that's included on the exam, it would be oncology the following week. And I know you're all getting nervous about the exam. I'll have you know that I haven't completed writing the exam yet. So I can't tell you how many questions. It's going to be between 50 and 75. I figure you usually get 1 minute and 20 seconds per question. So if you multiply that out, you'll know how much time you have to answer the questions. If I have a lot more, you know, longer questions, and that you've got to do a lot of reading, then you get a little extra time, but so that you're aware of that. They are multiple choice and a few matching. That's what I have on my exams. There's no fill in the blank, multiple, you know, with this test. So at least you have a little bit of an idea. And like I said, it is open book and open note. There may be some questions from the practice quizzes on this exam as well, because many of you are doing those. And I know they don't always correlate with the lecture material, but I don't want them to, because you're not being just tested, or we're not trying to educate you just on what is in the lecture. We're trying to offer you many avenues to increase your knowledge, because you have to have multiple sources to understand what we're teaching you and to perform in your role. So you'll always be learning. And I know that Dr. Ames was just talking to me this morning with the APN3 people. And I mean, they're panicking because they're like, I'm not ready to graduate. And you are ready, but you have to also know that you're always going to be looking, you're always going to be asking questions, you're always going to be looking into the literature, and you're going to have help. It's always, you know, you call your lifeline, hello. Certainly I still do that. So I think you have to feel comfortable knowing that you have resources and to use your resources. That is a safe practitioner if you do that. The scholarly project, I just, you know, even though I'm not involved anymore, I just want to remind you that your outline is due October 15th, and there are no exemplar outlines. If you write your outline to mirror the way the paper is supposed to be put together, you should be okay. You know, an outline, you don't include everything you're going to write in an outline. It's and please include the literature table that I gave you, that you're supposed to fill in when you go out and get your references. That is a tool for you, and you should have included when you turn in your paper at least 5 references. And use that table, because then you'll continue to build on it as you write your paper and get more resources, because that is going to have to be turned in as an addendum with your scholarly paper. And each of you, you know, your person you're working with might have a little different kind of twist on what they want for their outline, and they may turn it back in and say, I have questions about this. Do you really want to focus on this topic? So this is a learning process. You're going to have a lot of give and take. You're going to get a lot of feedback. And I think now everybody's heard from their person, and you should be well on your way. And if you get an email from your adjunct that you're working with, please email back and let them know that you got that communication for them. So, soap notes. Just a friendly reminder to everybody that we understand that soap notes are very lengthy and something that nobody likes doing. They are a good learning tool for you, and it helps you think through the process of what you're doing and develop critical thinking skills. And you just remind everybody that you can't use your soap notes from, you know, APN1, or you can't use somebody else's soap note and turn it as your own. These are your own. Each patient is individual, and each patient comes with maybe a similar problem, but not the same history, the same medications, and you don't interact with a patient in a cookbook fashion, and so everything is a little bit different with each patient. So we are looking at different ways with the curriculum revision we're going through of different things that can be required for the clinical piece of this. And, you know, it might not be doing a soap note every week. We might have other activities involved, or once you prove that you really do a well-developed soap note, maybe you might only have to do a few a semester, but that is coming in the future. And we are hearing you loud and clear about those. But until that time, you know, they're a necessary piece of the learning and of the grading. So I appreciate that. What else do we have to talk about? The Packers are doing really well. You know, and thank God the Brewers are done for the season, and, you know, postseason is going on. So we still have a lot of sports, and the hockey, and the Bucks in the Milwaukee area are really pushing to do some really great things for the community. So, you know, this week, like I told you guys, you know, I'm not sometimes as patient as I should be. I've heard that my whole life, and I'm still working on that. And, you know, what happened with genetics just, you know, threw me for a loop, and, you know, I became very, very frustrated, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what next with this class? So, you know, setbacks in our life, it can be a really positive thing, and then believing in yourself at the same time, because you know you. And, you know, I just have some little things to read, and it was kind of like I was going to read one of these this week, and then I ran across this other, and they kind of feed on each other. But one of them is called The Upside of Setbacks. The American swimmer Dara Torres had a remarkable career, appearing in 5 different Olympics from 1984 to 2008. Late in her career, Torres broke the U.S. record for the 50-meter freestyle 25 years after she herself set that record. But it wasn't always medals and records. Torres also encountered obstacles in her athletic career, injuries, surgery, as well as being almost twice the age of most other competitors. She said, "I've wanted to win at everything every day since I was a kid. I'm also aware that setbacks have an upside. They fuel new dreams." Setbacks have an upside? Boy, that's a great life lesson. Torres' struggles motivated her to reach for new heights. They have a spiritual benefit too, as James said. Consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And, you know, and I read this and I thought, boy, if that isn't the truth. You know, we do get tested, and, you know, we do run into stumbling roadblocks, but, you know, all of us persevere, and we all will. And like you in APN2 here, you know, it's somewhat overwhelming. You have a lot of things going on in your life, but we run into roadblocks, but we can get over those, and you just persevere, and you move forward, and you succeed, and you follow your dreams and develop new dreams. So until my next email or my next little message, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Alrighty, bye.